Parents laughed when I walked into the wedding alone, but then a stranger walked in, and they froze. I still remember the sound of my mother's laugh echoing across the decorated hall. It wasn't the soft, warm kind a mother gives when she's proud of her child. No, this was sharp, mocking, almost rehearsed. My father wasn't any better. He elbowed my sister and whispered loudly enough for half the guests to hear. "Look at her, alone again. How embarrassing." My sister snorted, shaking her head as if I were some kind of joke walking on two legs. "Where's your +1, huh? Oh right, no one wants a woman like you." The words sliced through me like cold wind. And every pair of eyes that turned toward me felt like they had been waiting for me to fail, to shrink, to disappear. I stood there holding my gift bag, pretending their voices didn't land. Pretending the burn in my throat wasn't real. Pretending I hadn't spent hours preparing myself mentally for this day, telling myself that I could survive one family event without letting them destroy me again. But the moment I walked in alone, I knew. They were ready for war. Because in my family, my worth always came down to one thing: being married, or at least being chosen by someone. And since I wasn't, they believed they still had the right to humiliate me, to treat me like a defect, to laugh at my existence. My mother waved dramatically at a group of aunties. "She's 30 and still single. What can we do? She's too picky." My father added with a bitter smirk. "Picky? No. No one picks her." Everyone laughed. Everyone except me. Inside, something shifted. Something snapped. Something I had been holding back for years. Pain, anger, disappointment, all of it collided in my chest. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But most of all, I wanted to disappear so they would finally realize what they had lost. Because the truth was, this wasn't new. This wasn't even surprising. My sister had always been the star. The pretty one. The married one. The one with a perfect husband, a perfect family, a perfect life polished like a showroom display. And me? I was the extra chair in the room. Useful, but easily ignored. Even growing up, I was the one who was told to adjust, sacrifice, lower expectations, stop dreaming. My sister was encouraged to shine. I was told not to embarrass the family. But tonight, the night of my cousin's wedding, my family decided to take their insults to a new level. My mother leaned closer to my aunt and whispered loudly, "Maybe we should set her up with someone, a divorcee with 2 kids? Even that might be too good for her." My aunt chuckled. My father pretended to sigh. My sister smirked with the confidence of someone who had never faced rejection in her life. The music swelled. Lights flickered. People danced. And I stood in the middle of the hall feeling like the only person drowning. I tried to walk away, but my sister grabbed my wrist. "Don't go too far. I want my friends to meet you. I told them all about you being independent." Her tone dripped with sarcasm. When I didn't react, she added, "Don't worry. They're married. You won't be expected to flirt." My parents burst into laughter again. I smiled faintly, not because it was funny, but because I had learned to survive by pretending things didn't hurt. I found a seat in the corner, far from the stage, far from their taunts. But even then, their voices reached me like poison carried by air. I stared down at my hands. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself they didn't matter. But it did. And they did. Because all I ever wanted was simple respect. Not applause. Not recognition. Just basic human respect. But I never got it. Not from them. I thought I had grown used to it. But tonight, something in me trembled, a quiet, heavy grief for the family I never truly had. Across the hall, my family kept laughing, glancing at me as if waiting for the next punchline. I clenched my jaw. I took a deep breath. And that's when I realized. I wasn't sad. I was angry. For years, I accepted their insults thinking it was normal, thinking it was family, thinking I had no choice. But tonight, while surrounded by people who were supposed to be celebrating love, I felt nothing but humiliation. That humiliation sparked something new. A decision. A shift. A silent promise to myself. This ends tonight. I didn't know how. I didn't know when. But I knew one thing for sure. I would never let them laugh at me like this again. I was about to stand up, but before I could, the main entrance opened. A tall figure stepped inside. The murmurs began. Heads turned. Music slowed. Even the bride paused. My parents, still smirking at their own jokes, looked toward the door. And their faces fell. Their smiles froze. Their laughter died mid-breath. Because the stranger who walked in, the one confidently scanning the hall, the one heading straight toward me, was someone they never expected. And everything changed the moment he said my name. I thought I came alone, but I had no idea what was coming next. And neither did they. The hall fell silent, not gradually, but instantly, like someone had hit a mute button on life itself. And the man walking toward me, he moved with a confidence that made every pair of eyes latch onto him. Tall, sharp suit, calm face. Someone who didn't belong to my world, or to this wedding hall full of gossiping aunties and judgmental relatives. My parents stared at him like they'd seen a ghost. My sister's smirk evaporated. Even the bride stopped mid-shoot of her pre-wedding TikTok. I stood up without thinking, confused, nervous, embarrassed, until he gave me a small, warm smile. "Sorry I'm late," he said gently, placing a hand on my shoulder like he'd done it 1,000 times. The entire hall gasped. My mother covered her mouth. My father stiffened. My sister muttered under her breath, "What the hell?" I whispered back at him, "Who are you? What are you doing?" He leaned closer. "Relax. You don't know me, but someone told me you could use a little help tonight." Before I could even process that, he extended his hand toward me. "Shall we?" The crowd watched like this was the climax of some million-dollar drama. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know why he was here. But I knew one thing. For the first time all evening, people were staring at me with something other than pity. So I took his hand. Instantly, the whispers erupted. "Is he her boyfriend? He looks rich. Who is he? She said she came alone. Did she lie?" My sister stormed toward us, heels clacking against the marble. She eyed him up and down, then glared at me. "Who is this? Some rented date?" He raised an eyebrow, amused. "Funny. But no." My sister scoffed. "Then explain what he's doing here." Before I could speak, he stepped forward and extended his hand politely. "I'm Daniel." A confident pause. "Her partner." My jaw dropped. My parents' souls left their bodies. The aunties shrieked like pigeons in a fireworks show. My father walked over quickly, face red, voice trembling. "Partner?" "As in a serious partner." Daniel nodded with a calm smile. "She didn't tell you?" "No, I absolutely had not told them, because I didn't even know this man an hour ago." My father's voice cracked. "You dating him?" Daniel slipped his hand around my waist, and I swear the entire hall tilted, for a while now. Then he looked at me softly, as if we were in on some secret together. I didn't want to make things awkward by showing up uninvited, but I couldn't let her deal with this alone. My heart stuttered. My family stared like someone had slapped them with a live fish. Daniel continued, calm, respectful, but with an undertone of steel. "She deserves better than being mocked for being single." My mother swallowed hard. Her eyes darted toward the guests who were now whispering about her instead of me. My sister scoffed again. "This is ridiculous. She would have told us if she was dating someone like you." Daniel turned to her with a cold, polite smile. "Are you sure you would have listened? Or would you have laughed at her like you did tonight?" My sister flinched. My father's jaw tightened. My mother looked away. It was the first time in my life someone had stood up for me. Someone who didn't even know me, but knew exactly how it felt to be treated like I didn't matter. He gently guided me toward the seating area. Everyone watched. My parents followed behind us like scolded children. When we sat down, he leaned toward me and whispered so only I could hear, "Your friend from work called me. She said you might need backup. So, I came." My eyes widened. My coworker, my one real friend, must have seen my panic earlier and reached out to him. But why him? He answered before I asked. "She told me you'd helped her through a tough time, and she said you never have anyone to support you at family events." I felt my chest tighten, Not from fear, but from something warm and painful. Meanwhile, my parents stood nearby, hovering awkwardly. Finally, my mother spoke, her voice shaky. Why didn't she tell us about you? Daniel looked directly at her, calm, unbothered. Maybe because whenever she tries to share something personal, you mock her. My mother blinked, speechless. My father cleared his throat. My sister stared with venom. Daniel went on. You laugh at her for being alone, but the truth is, she's the strongest person here. She didn't need anyone to hold her hand to survive years of disrespect. His words hit them harder than any slap. My mother tried recovering, smiling weakly. Well, she's still our daughter. Daniel shook his head gently. Then treat her like one. My parents froze. Even I stopped breathing for a second. Because no one had ever said those words on my behalf. Not a friend. Not a relative. Not a partner. No one. Until this stranger. Suddenly, the power in the room shifted. People looked at me differently. My family looked at him differently. And for the first time in my life, my parents didn't know what to say. My sister, unable to stand the silence, muttered, "This is fake. It has to be fake." Daniel chuckled softly. If you're so confident, why don't you ask the one person who knows the truth? My sister raised an eyebrow. Who? He pointed. Right at me. Everyone turned. And in that moment, with the entire hall watching, with my heart pounding, with my family waiting for me to break, something inside me lit up. Strength. Courage. Clarity. I finally spoke. This isn't about him. I stood up slowly. This is about you. All of you. The way you treat me. The way you mock me. The way you humiliate me like it's entertainment. My mother opened her mouth. I lifted my hand to stop her. Tonight, I'm done. My father took a step forward. What do you mean done? I looked them in the eyes, really looked at them, for the first time in years. Done letting you make me feel small. The hall held its breath. Daniel stood up beside me, not overshadowing me, just supporting me. My family stared in stunned silence. And I knew. Everything was about to change. Because the next words leaving my mouth would end the version of me they loved to laugh at. And they were not ready. My father's face tightened, confused and irritated. He wasn't used to me speaking with confidence. He wasn't used to me speaking at all. What do you mean you're done? He demanded, lowering his voice as if controlling volume could control me. I took a slow breath and stepped forward. I mean I'm done letting you humiliate me every chance you get. I'm done being the family punchline. I'm done being treated like a disappointment you can parade around for entertainment. My mother flinched as if I had slapped her. My sister crossed her arms, already defensive. The guests around us pretended to be busy fixing their dupatas, their plates, their hair, anything, but their ears were wide open. The whole hall knew what my family had done. And now, they were about to hear the truth from the person who'd stayed quiet for years. My voice didn't shake. Not this time. You laugh at me for being single. You mock me for walking alone. But you never once stopped to ask why I pulled away from all of you. My mother finally spoke, voice trembling. We were just joking. You're too sensitive. I shook my head. No. You were cruel. There's a difference. She blinked rapidly, trying to keep her emotions hidden behind a mask of superiority. My father tried again, stepping closer. We are your parents. You can't talk to us like this at a wedding. I met his eyes. Then maybe you should have treated me like your daughter at a wedding. Silence swallowed the hall whole. My sister scoffed loudly, trying to regain control of the scene. You're being dramatic. No one cares about this except you. Daniel stepped forward, not speaking for me, but supporting me. You humiliated her in front of hundreds of people. I think everyone cares now. My sister glared at him, but he didn't even blink. I turned to her. You know what hurts the most? It's not that you mock me. It's that you enjoy it. You take pride in tearing me apart. She rolled her eyes, but her confident expression had cracks forming. If I ever laughed at you, she said with fake sweetness, it's because you're too sensitive. Toughen up. I smiled, cold calm ready. No. You laugh because it makes you feel powerful. Because tearing me down is the easiest way to feel tall. Her jaw clenched. She didn't expect me to understand her so accurately, or say it out loud. My mother stepped in, trying to salvage the family image. "We didn't raise you to talk like this." I nodded. "Exactly. You raised me to stay silent while you walked over me." She inhaled sharply. I continued before anyone could interrupt. "Every time I achieved something, you compared it to someone else. Every time I felt happy, you reminded me what I didn't have. Every time I tried to share anything about my life, you turned it into a joke." My father whispered harshly, "Lower your voice." I shook my head. "No, I won't lower my voice anymore." Gasps echoed across the room. I wasn't shouting. I didn't need to. My words carried weight because they were finally free. Daniel stepped back, giving me the floor entirely. He didn't need to play anything anymore. I turned toward my parents. "You think walking into a wedding alone is something to laugh at? You should have been proud that your daughter walks into life alone every day, with more strength than most people ever learn." My mother's eyes glistened, whether from guilt, embarrassment, or fear of judgment, I didn't know. My father opened his mouth to speak, but I raised my hand again. "No, let me finish." He froze. "You wanted everyone to see me as weak. Tonight, they'll see me as someone who finally stood up to you." I stepped closer, enough for only my family to hear the next part. "You've mocked me for years. Today, I'm giving that shame back to you." My mother's lip trembled. My father swallowed hard. My sister stepped back instinctively. Daniel placed a gentle hand on my back. Steady, warm, grounding. But I kept my focus forward. "I'm not here to fight," I said quietly. "I'm here to end it." My father frowned. "And what?" I straightened my posture. "This relationship. This dynamic. This version of us." Their faces drained of color. "From today," I said firmly, "I'm setting boundaries." My sister scoffed again. "Boundaries? You're acting like a therapist now." I looked at her with calm pity. "No, just someone who finally sees her own worth." Then I lifted my chin, breathed deeply, and said the words I had swallowed for decades. "I will not accept disrespect from any of you again." My mother stepped closer, voice breaking. "You don't mean that, we're your family." I nodded. "Exactly. Family should bring comfort, not fear." A single tear slid down her cheek. My father tried to reach for my arm, but I moved back. "Don't," I said gently. "Not until you understand what you've done." He froze, hands suspended midair. "I am walking away from the role you forced me to play," I continued. "The weak one. The single one. The one you could mock without consequences." I paused, letting my words settle. "That version of me is gone." The hall was so silent you could hear the soft hum of the chandelier lights. Daniel finally stepped beside me, not leading, just present. "Are you ready?" he whispered. I nodded. But before we left, I turned to my family once more. "I didn't come here to show off a partner. And he's not here to be some trophy for you to approve." I looked at them with a calm, tired, gentle truth. I didn't need him to make me complete. I needed him to remind me I deserved better. My mother let out a quiet sob. My father turned away, ashamed. My sister stood frozen. Her confidence finally cracked apart. I took one last breath. I'm not alone anymore, not because I have someone beside me, but because I finally have myself. And with that, I turned around. Daniel walked beside me, matching my pace. Not leading, not pulling, just walking with me. When we reached the exit, he opened the door slowly. The cool night air washed over my face like freedom. Inside the hall, the music resumed, but everything had changed. I didn't lose a family that night. I lost an illusion. And in its place, I gained myself. Outside, Daniel asked softly, "You okay?" I smiled. Not the polite smile I'd worn all my life. A real one. "Yeah," I whispered. For the first time ever, we walked into the night together. Not because I needed someone to walk with, but because I finally chose who deserved to walk beside me.